Melanie Gear, Nick Sims, Talik Nelms, and John Harden.
Here.
All present.
All right. Can I have a motion to dispense the reading of and approval of minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion by Counselor Andrews, second by Counselor Harden. All in favor?
Now.
No, sorry.
Who was the first?
You're right. Sorry, it was Nelms
Nelms
and Harden.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it was 5-0. Old business is 01-02-20, request for updates on Green Springs revitalization. Berkeley Squires. All right, without objection, we'll carry that over. Oh, sure.
With a couple business owners, we're just looking at basically traffic flow plans into and out of different businesses, and trying to reach out to Clark. I have some of this. I was just wondering, have a plan in place, or is there a plan we can reference if somebody says, hey, how does someone, what's the best route for someone to access my business now? So take, for example, someone is at Green Springs, Knoxville, and trying to get the pop-off patch and going north on Green Springs. So, there's a median currently, so you can't turn left through the median. And we talked about U-turn last week, or last meeting, it was referenced that U-turns would not be permitted, or are they permitted in some areas? So U-turns are not permitted. And I mean, that's just basically what I'm trying to figure out is, what does traffic flow look like for instances?
I've had some of the same people come to me.
I mean,
I like that area through there and cut down a lot of that median thing, right? Two lane traffic that people are jumping in and riding all the way down to hang a left down there at Knoxville, or to hang a right, down there at Rock, and they'll ride all the way down that middle lane. And it was to dress that area up, kind of address some of those things, keep traffic flowing. And a lot of these will be addressed once the red lights are changed and all of that stuff is done. I think that's just give it time to let us get to that point. And I think at that point in time, the left turn lane will be in for Oxmoor, bike lanes will be installed, everything will be repaved, restriped through that area. And once we can do the traffic signals and all that, I think the flow and the things that you're hearing, as I've talked to several people myself, I think once we can do that, and everything gets to go, it'll address only 99% of the concerns of some people having to back up some, 5 o'clock on turning left off. Or a lot of that will be once we get traffic signals. We syncing all of those, we're doing all those, and getting everything paved and striped.
and that's great, and because I definitely am, begging for patience from folks is to allow things to get fully done. Right now, there's only one turn lane on the left, northbound on Green Springs, Oxmoor, but there'll eventually be 2 lanes again, and that type of thing. And trying to, in some situations, I could look at a plan and say, this is what it'll be, show how it'll be better. But in the instance in particular of access to some of those, I really don't, if there's a median and there's no U-turns, I cannot tell them what the plan is to look ahead even to know how to best access their business. And that's the part I'm just trying to.
The plans are online though.
The plans?
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, the plans for the improvements are online, but I'm just trying to figure out, so if you're going to the pop-off patch, but you can't turn a U-turn or a left into that, and you're going north, then are you supposed to go to Pueblo and turn into that
Can I
figure
jump
out
in real
access.
fast? So I think we got to wait to see how it works, but I feel like the left-hand lane could be a U-turn lane. I mean, there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah,
People are doing
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
if you're,
no,
and we could have signage that says U-turn on the left-hand lane and then go.
Necessary to tell somebody how to get there. You know, my thing, if I'm doing it, and I'm driving, if I know that I'm gonna have to come in that way, then I'm probably gonna go down the next exit ramp and come off of there and come in and I can right in and walk off that.
I think part of the,
It's anything else that you do that's a change. It's not gonna be the way it was before, so you make the adaptations of how you're gonna come into that place coming there. So if you normally might have got off on the Green Springs exit, maybe now this time you're gonna get off on Oxford exit.
so
That's where you're coming back and you're gonna visit a business. You know, coming back, it's gonna be on your right, it's going southbound, then, you know, you may wanna go up an exit.
yeah, and to that point, I think you make a good point. I mean, change is hard sometimes, but if I remember correctly, I believe they pulled that curb back far enough that you couldn't make that turn because it was too close to the intersection because of line of sight issues or something like that. But there was a reason that they took it out.
Yeah.
So, because right now I think it's just that narrow strip of concrete, you know, it makes sense that it wouldn't be there otherwise, but I'm pretty sure Clark.
I believe some of that had to do with the people mistaking it for a turn into Publix as well. It's around.
On here, it was double turn lanes going in. Yeah, and the turn lane into Publix is dangerous as well. So I think that might have been the whole thing. Clark probably remembers. I don't know off the top of my head.
And I just know that from the committee meeting last week, there was a discussion about prohibiting U-turns, but I think in some cases, if you allow U-turns, then the access is there. But if it's prohibited, then that's just where I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be places you turn, I'm sure to be allowed. I don't think you're gonna turn in the middle of Oxford.
I did this last week. Mom said I have to gas station in the street pass.
And so maybe when we do improvements north of more, if we can have like a mid-block U-turn or turnaround, or turnabout, maybe that helps in the subsequent phase addressing this. But, I was just asking questions because I've talked to people and I don't know how to best answer it. But I also don't want to tell them, you no longer have good access to your property. But thank you.
All right. We will go ahead.
To a meeting and talk to us.
Yeah, we can see about having Clark come possibly in 2 weeks if he's available. Berkeley, is that something you can? Okay. All right, we'll carry that over. New business 020821 request to plant trees in the right of way at the corner of Ventura and Lafredo. Dale Smith.
And then Brian's got it. Good afternoon. So this is for the Mann residence on the corner of Ventura and La Prado, and Mr. Mann and the architect, Louis Niquette and O'Neill Crawford, who's the landscape architect, put this together, and they're here to ask for permission to plant trees in the right of way. The plan shows 4 trees. They are American elms, because like what we talked about earlier, they can source those at this point.
Yes, and it's 3 elms on this in the right of way.
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm O'Neill Crawford. There's 3 elms in the right of way. That would be on the La Prade side. And then this is within the property line would be the Trident maple. And yes, we can source the elms. Sorry, just for the record.
Yes, it's going to be a new sidewalk that's installed by them once they finish the project. So there's 6 feet between the back of curb and the new 5-foot sidewalk.
This is between the sidewalk and the back. of the
And the
curb.
back of curb, that's correct. That is the sidewalk, that's correct. So scroll out a little, Brian, if you can. Thank you. So yeah, here's the 5-foot sidewalk and then the 6-foot landscape strip with trees inside. And then on the next PDF, there are pictures of similar streetscape, I think, on the same block and even the next block.
The top left picture is actually Lewis's house, which is right up, it's on the same block on La Paredo. And so we are looking to actually complete the street treescape with something similar to, with an elm, but an approved elm. So that would complete the streetscape along here to the right. The top right is where the proposed trees would be planted in the right of way.
Sounds like it's the fact that the elms are would be elms, so we're pulling from.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? So we've had a lot of trees at different spots that are close to the sidewalk and driveways that do not thrive. So we really are looking at, is this tree going to, is the root system going to be a problem? So we're looking at all that through our arborist.
Yes, we've put O'Neill through the ringer about what trees we're going to plant along this landscape strip. So we've been through about 4 different iterations of trees. And this is where we're landed at where we've landed at this point. But I think, so right now we're looking at the American elm, and I think that's the right.
And it's a smaller variety of an American elm.
You've already been through it.
Yeah, the
I just
arborist
had
has been very
someone call
involved
me today,
in
a
this
tree in
conversation.
front of their house, dead as a doornail, and the developer just put down a tree that we thought would be good, and now it's dead, so it's just kind of sad.
So with the proper motion to be or just with the proper implementation agreement.
One oh one Ventura Avenue, and we are right here, John and Abby. And
Hey, Kale, is the sidewalk that's being installed, I think there was a question about who's going to be maintaining it. Are the property owners putting it in?
They're putting it in for us. I mean, it'll be in the city right away. It'll be a public sidewalk.
So they're placing it, then we would assume maintaining it, is that correct?
That's right.
And is 5 feet, you said 5 feet in width?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that the ADA standard? I can't remember.
That's
Yes.
the standard we've used.
Okay.
for a long time.
Is that already is that part of the improvement list? Is that already included?
So we typically don't require permissions to install 5-foot sidewalks because that's usually incidental to the project. It would be like reinstalling a driveway. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
They tore up the sidewalk too.
well, not intentionally.
Right, but it was just part of the project, incidental to the
Well, we had
project.
to tear out the foundation because our wonderful city inspector found out that we were over the setback. So when our builder had to go back in and tear out the full basement walls and all that, we tore up part of the sidewalk. So we said, just forget it. Don't try to save it. We can repair it where we can and replace it. And now apparently we're just entirely replacing it and it's a different width. And it's not, we should have just kept what we had there so that we could plant the trees, but Neil's working to.
Just usually when it's incidental to the construction, we don't require them to come back and request it. They just have to put it back to,
So the trees is the only thing we need to.
correct.
Okay, thanks.
I want to make a comment, if you don't mind. I love the intentionality of continuing the block
on the agenda, but he does have a concern about it. John or Lewis, I don't know, do one of y'all want to mention anything about that?
Much more practical. The landing.
Sonia, please.
He
I
did.
did.
He already did.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Mann. We got this project approved a couple of years ago. It's taken a while. COVID delayed a lot of things. We had some setbacks. When we got this approved, it was a 4-foot sidewalk was the code. Now we're being told that's changed to 5 feet. The landing, as it relates to the corner, it's 4-foot entry. So if you put the 5-foot sidewalk down, it creates a tripping hazard. Like for the ADA, the accessibility there. I don't know why we're being told it's 5 feet. The city just replaced like last week, they just replaced some sidewalks. It was 4 feet. All of the sidewalks are 4 feet around that corner. So you're gonna have one strip of 5 feet, and then it ties into 4 feet behind our driveway. And even the front of the house next to our neighbors is 4 feet as well. So we're gonna have one little strip of 5 feet. And so if we're gonna have to put in the 5-foot sidewalk, the landing, that needs to be accounted for by the city, because that is a tripping hazard. You're gonna end up with people getting hurt, somebody fall from a bike or whatnot. It's something to be considered. It is 4 feet. I measured it today. I think O'Neill took some pictures too.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
And and this is just a procedural question for me. Does anything about the width of the sidewalk affect what you're doing with the trees? Would it change anything if it's a 4-foot?
Give us a little more room. Be more helpful.
But is it going to change what trees you put there or anything like that? Okay. Well, then what I would say is that why don't we, because that's not on the agenda, I don't really know that the committee can do anything with that. So I would suggest, I don't want to hold up your trees is what I'm trying to avoid. So why don't we go ahead and let the committee deal with the trees, and then maybe we can talk about the sidewalk width, and if we need to put something back on the agenda, then we will. But
Sure who to go to about the sidewalk.
you're gonna come talk to me. And then
We
we'll,
have to do that in order to move in. I mean, we've got a 20-month-old construction project.
I
So
understand.
the sidewalks are more important to move in than the street trees. Like,
I just can't do anything about the sidewalks tonight because they're not on the agenda item. So, and I don't want to hold up your trees, make you wait on that. Let's let the committee do the trees, and then let's talk, and I'll give you my number, and we can talk with me and upstairs, and we'll see what we can.
Thank you. Thanks, Gil. Thank you.
Does that work for you, Mr. Chairman? I didn't mean to speak for you.
Yes. All right. So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow the Mann family 101 Ventura to plant the trees as shown in the plan and with the appropriate indemnification.
By Counselor Harden, second by Counselor Sims. All in favor? Any opposed? 5-0. Last item, 030821, request to repeal and replace the flood damage ordinance. Gail Smith.
All right. I sent this out to the committee last Friday. It's a kind of a boilerplate template. A few of our FEMA flood maps have been updated by FEMA. So those come in the mail, and then we have to repeal and replace the existing flood damage ordinance that we currently have in place. It's issued by ADECA. They send it out to all the communities in the state who participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. And we just kind of fill in the blanks. So that's what this is. I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has about it. John?
Is the big thing, we're just changing the location of what's in the floodplain and what's not, what's in the floodway and what's not? Is that
No, we don't have that. We don't make that
what
decision.
FEMA does?
That's what FEMA does.
So our documents being changed
Because FEMA said some of these areas changed in the
Right.
flood.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
out Friday. And then it's- seems like it takes that 2 hours.
Okay.
It has to be.
Do we think that that's, I mean, it's just, that's not a substantive change or anything.
No, that's just.
Do we think, is there any reason to think that it wouldn't be ready for next Monday?
That's changed.
Right, well, that's what I was,
Yes, we can make the change by next month.
okay, fantastic.
You want to carry
Sounds
You
like.
send it out,
sounds
it's
like
gonna be
we're-
ready for Monday.
Yeah, it sounds like we're okay with sending it out.
I'll make a motion to update the place flood damage ordinance.
All right, motion by Counselor Harden, second by Counselor Gear, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 5-0, and we stand adjourned.